Hi guys, welcome to Kpop Talks. I'm your host Aladdin, and today where I will present to you what I consider to be the worst K-pop albums of 2023 so far, and it will include all the K-pop albums that have came out between January and June of 2023. I didn't include July. I felt like it was fine to leave it at that at the end of the day, so I pretty much focus on the first 6 months of the year. And I would say that we have a lot of albums to talk about, a lot of variety, a lot of hip hop stuff, some K pop as well. And let's get right into it because I have a lot to say about some of these projects. First and foremost, we have PRIMROSE with Red Moon. PRIMROSE is a group when debuted. I felt like they had some potential. I felt like maybe under the right guidance, under the right company, they could have showcased some really interesting things. This project, though, even though it's very short, like some of them other ones I'm gonna present on this list, it's just not it. Every song doesn't work. I just feel like their company haven't found a style that really works well for the girls. Therefore, they're making this like really heavy production EDM-ish vibe. I don't think really fits with them at all. I wish they changed a little more of a vibe, go more with an R&B element. I think it could work better for them, but we'll see. But as a project, unfortunately, it doesn't work, and it really shows me that the company's kind of holding Primrose because apart from their debut, there's been a lot of things that I found that they've done interestingly, obviously since their debut. Next, we have Limelight with Love and Happiness. I would say similar issue in the sense that it's another project where I feel like the girls simply haven't found their groove yet. Limelight is another group that I felt I thought they were fine, nothing spectacular. I feel like this album really showcased, I think, their lack of creativity. I think lack of vocal skills. The company showcases a lack of interesting productions, interesting lyrics, and there's nothing about these songs I think it's even remotely good, honestly. So, Lama is another group that has really disappointed me since debut, and they've had a really, really tough year, in my opinion. So, hopefully, it's just better from now on. Next, we have the first really big album, which is Jimin with Face. Now, Jimin had obviously one of the most anticipated projects of 2023. I mean, obviously, he's a BTS member. And when I heard Set Me Free, I thought, it's fine. But then when I got into the album, I realized the problems that I had with Jimin on Set Me Free were, I think, enhanced and even worse throughout the project because the absolutely abuse of vocal effects on his voice that completely ruin his vocal performance every single time is astounding. I think the production choices are not that good. They don't fit Jimin well at all. Jimin is more of a smooth guy. He should get more smooth beats and have more of a Harry Styles type of production, if you know what I'm talking about. But I feel like their company at this point doesn't care. They can release a piece of shit on the table and people will buy it. Did insane streamings, obviously. He's gonna go platinum or whatever, but for me specifically, I'm not impressed at all. And Jimin to me is one of the most talented singers of the group, so it's clearly to me that Hype doesn't, and the producers have no idea how to really, I think, make Jimin shine as a solo completely. And that's because Jimin is not really a writer, he's not a producer, none of those things. So when you have to have a team around him, compared to the rappers where they have their own styles and they produce their stuff for themselves, they have a clear idea of what music is good for them, allows them to actually make better music. Where Jimin, like unfortunately also I think recently Jungkook, just showcased a huge problem when it comes to their actual writing in the albums because the company clearly doesn't know where to take them artistically, and therefore they just give them really basic songs, and I think that really holds them back. Next we have Jisoo with Me. Jisoo, I think the last member to get a single. I mean, the single is one of the worst singles of the year, but the project, even though it's 3 songs, it's terrible. Again, YG just gives Jisoo songs doesn't fit her at all, and it's similar to problems I had with Lisa. Her music feels so unauthentic to who she is. I feel like the only people that really got their singles right is Rose, really. But the other girls are just so much fakeness. It's nothing about them. It's just performance, just visual. Jisoo went viral because everybody likes Blackpink and she did a very basic dance that every Instagram or TikToker has done. Obviously, Jenny originally they tried to push so fucking hard on people's head, overdoing, making her do a million things, and it didn't work with the fan base. I think Lisa did a good job of putting herself over, as they say in the wrestling industry, with the fans, even outside of Blackpink fans. But they give her always the same beats, the same features, the same lyrics, and everybody knows she's not writing her own lyrics, so it doesn't make it easier in that sense. So for Jimin is Jimin, for Jenny's for Jisoo it's the same. It's 5 a.m. I'm kind of tired. I want to go to sleep, but it's just not it. You know, you wish the company would have a clear idea where they go, and it's clear the girls are just there to make money. They don't care about their music, like, and it's obvious they don't care. I think it's been obvious for years they don't give a fuck about their music at all. It's part of what they make money from. It's fine. It's clear they have a big, good business relationship with each other and the company, but it doesn't go over that. And it's pretty obvious when you hear music like this. It has no soul, and when it has no soul, it's even more evident in K-pop, which is already somewhat of a soulless genre compared to others, where you can kind of hide that behind fluff. In K-pop, it's so obvious when people are just doing it because it's a paycheck, it's in my contract. Next, we have Loren. We put up a fight. My bad. I mean, this album is just pretentious pop punk music. Wanna be alternative, wanna be different, wanna be punk rock, but reality it just sounds very generic. He has no personality on this project. All the beats are rip-off of classic pop punk emo beats. The lyrics are overly cringy. And while his vocals are not bad, I just, again, when you put him over them like cringy lyrics with them very generic emo pop punk beats and instrumentals, he sounds very, very generic. And he sounds very bad, I would say, a lot of the time. So this was a very big disappointment. And he's somebody that was supposed to be hyped because, oh my god, he's this genius young star. Like, he ain't no genius, man. Compared to Lehigh, I mean, Lehigh is a true genius. You know, not him. Not at all. Next we have Coogie with DIFF. Now this might be the worst hip-hop album of the year, and it comes from a guy who I think since signing with AMG prior to releasing this project had a really, really good run personally, because he had a great run artistically, he had a great run in terms of features, he was releasing interesting songs. He didn't sound like the Coogie of old, who was always generic and boring. And then he drops this, one of the worst projects I've ever heard. Really, I'm not even joking, in the genre. It's so bad. For a Korean hip-hop album, for a K-pop album, for a Korean project I've ever heard, it's one of the worst I've ever heard in my life. And I've been into the genre for like 10 years. It's fucking terrible. There's nothing about this project that it's respectable, and it has even the decency. I don't know who's the A&R, even if they have one AMG, they should have fucking stopped him from releasing this. It's really, really bad. But it's perfect for the clubs. People in the clubs, when they don't have 4 bottles in them, will enjoy anything, honestly. And next we have Bulbagan with love.zip. Now, as I said in the past, I don't think they should call it Bulbagan anymore. Regardless, this album is just boring. It's clear that these are old songs that probably her ex-teammate wrote or produced in the past that were in the vault. They simply copy-paste them. No originality, no heart, no soul. And again, I can't look at her the same when I know how much her friend used to get mistreated and she chose money over her. You know, that is something I can't respect about anybody, you know. I always forget her real name because she's a real name. Let's forget it. Woojion. Yes. Like Woojion was the solo of the group from an artistical standpoint because she wrote and she produced a lot of the music. You know, but unfortunately, and this is, I would say, the truth for a lot of K-pop specifically, is that in reality there's no friendship, you know, and I mean, the reality is that actually they used to be high school friends and they got really popular in their early 20s together, and to have a friend backstab you has to be insane, so she could get all the attention. So Anjian invested in herself, became a huge star. I'm pretty sure she does great for herself in Korea, but there's nothing that makes me think that she hasn't ruined her own perception in the community, in the industry, with music fans, when those images got released, when people realized, and apparently even this, I don't know if it was Dispatch or who, but they were saying apparently she didn't even want to have her in the group anymore. She thought she shouldn't be on the stage with her a lot of the times when they were performing, because she was playing the instrumentals. Terrible, terrible things. And I also think when she went on Weekly Idol, famously, and I recommend you to watch that episode, as I say every time about Wonder Girls, so why Wonder Girls never lived up was because of Sunmi at the time. She was very, very unbearable. And I think she changed a little bit, but at the time she was very unbearable. And you can see it in that episode. You can clearly see this, and she's jealous of her friend. Her friend kills it. She's really good at rapping, at dancing. It's clear she's the mind of the group, but because she's the face, she ended up choosing herself with a friend. If you're a true person, if you're a respectable human being, you choose both. It's the way it is. But hey, listen, we ain't gonna complain. We ain't gonna say anything. The album is just shit. It's just boring, fake, and pretentious, and still acting like this is still a real act when in reality it isn't. It's like if tomorrow Akmu kept concept Akmu and Lee Chan-hyuk, Lee So-yeon decided to kick Lee Chan-hyuk out of the group. It's not Akmu anymore. It's Lee So-yeon and Lee Chan-hyuk, and they'll go and do their own different thing. A project that I know for a lot of people will hate me for it, but it's Taeyang with Down to Earth. Now I had huge expectations because Taeyang is one of the best voices in K-pop, had released one of the best projects before going to the military in 2017. He always wrote some of the most intimate and honest lyrics. So when I dropped this album, I had really huge expectations, and I'm not like many fans who, if it's Taeyang, I'll like everything he does. No. This project was so bad. I felt like, I get it, he's under YG, so probably the selections of features he might want to have inside of his own company, and whatever, it might be different. But on this project, he has vibe, which is fine. Shung is terrible. Inspiration is mediocre at best. I really think on this song, I'm not even joking, Benzino was probably on drugs or something. I don't even be that guy, but I think it was. Like, he sounds so uninspired. I listened to it for like a second. He sounds uninspired and whatever. And Bryan Chase is garbage on the last track. And production-wise, it just doesn't hit the way it's supposed to. Like a Taeyang album's supposed to. Again, guys, please go listen to Down to Earth. Okay? Listen to Down to Earth. And then listen to, even if you want to go White Knight. Okay? Listen to Rise from 2014. Okay? Solar from 2010. Go listen to these individual projects and come back and tell me that Down to Earth is not by far the worst. It's by far the worst. And it's crazy how bad it is compared to these other ones. It's clear this was a rushed project. The Taeyang released after years. You probably wanted to drop an album. And he had his wishes, 2 insane songs with BTS and Blackpink. The numbers are there. But yeah, I mean, it's such a disappointing project from one of the best artists in K-pop history. So I can't, I can't have a positive opinion about an album like this. I think it's impossible, man. Next we have APink with Self. APink is one of my favorite groups ever. Groups that made me feel in love with that cute concept. This album is just straight up dumpster, I think. The single is not that good, and the B-sides are very, very throwaways. Another example of we need a comeback, let's have a comeback. And APink last year had one of the best albums of the year. So to release this type of project really pisses me off. It seems like they took 4 songs that were in the vault, put them there in a single. It's so bad. It's actually pisses me off how bad it is. I don't think this next one pisses me off as much as this one, but it's definitely similar, which is Jado, what I feel. I've always said that I think So-yeon should stop heavily producing the music of the company, of the group, and I still think that's this day. The 2 singles are terrible. Allergy is garbage and has a fucking terrible message, I still think to this day. Especially the music video is fucking so fake. Like, So-yeon has to be in the center of the attention in a music video where he's supposed to talk about it. It doesn't matter how you look. And she tries to play the ugly, nerdy girl wearing full-on makeup, looking super good looking with a bunch of glasses, because we all know glasses make you ugly. She's so fake about that. She always gave me a fake vibe about her. I don't know why. She doesn't seem honest when she talks in front of a camera and about her music and whatnot. She's pretentious about what she wants to talk about as well. She's historically done it, you know. And I'm a guy who thinks, you know, I come from hip hop. If you claim you're the first at doing something, you better be the first. If not, you're gonna get clowned. And Son, for the longest, tried always making herself like some sort of like conscious, progressive artist. She isn't. And I think this album shows it because there's no progressiveness production wise, lyrically, vocally. It's the same shit and it's getting worse every year, I think. So, Nude was terrible, for example. I mean, am I gonna include one of the most cringeworthy songs of probably I've ever heard in K-pop? You know, that came out last year, obviously, as we know, came out the end of 2022, and I had it in my worst. Like, you think Allergy and the other one, I always forget the name of it, are not gonna make the list. Trust me when I say this, they're both gonna make the list. I'll tell you already right now. They're fucking terrible. You know, Queen Card is garbage. That chorus is really, really bad. But it's popular on TikTok, so it must be good, right? And next we have two popular rappers that I have always been very lukewarm about, which is Sik-K and HAON with Album on the Way. It's 8 songs that sound the exact same, they say the exact same thing. When I say they sound the exact same way, people might think I'm exaggerating. No, I'm pretty sure they use the same drums, the same snares, the same hi-hats, the same everything, the same 808s. It's the exact same with them singing about me being rich and fucking bitches. Garbage. There's maybe one song that I've enjoyed. And last but not least, we have Bryan. No, that's not true. It's not the last album. It's the second to last album, which is Bryan Chase with To You. Bryan Chase, another very hyped up guy. He came from a project. I wish I could remember which project it was. Bryan Chase used to be with the guys from Ijima, right? What they were called. Isn't that who he used to be? I think that's him, if not mistaken, right? Let me check if I can find a wiki of his. Again, I don't remember, but he's fucking not good, man. He's not good. Vocally, he's not good. His production choices are not good. His what do you call them? His what do you call it? His lyrics are pretty basic and generic and almost seems like he went on ChatGPT and says, write me a trap song, and that's what they would write. The features are not that good, and he has no personality on the track, you know. Like, I would say compare him to a Woody Gochild, right? Or even a Zayn Dezilla, which I think is not as good as Woody, but he's better than Bryan. They both are very monothematic, they both have a mono sound voice, but the way they plow with the production and the beats and everything, it's a completely different level. I would say you listen to Michael Jackson, listen to Pogba, they're on the same project. They sound similar, but they're completely different songs. So Bryan Chase is terrible, man. Again, it's his first project. Maybe he rushed it, but it's just not that good. And last but not least, no, it's not true. It is the last one. It's Chanmina with Naked. And it is probably, is it the worst project out of this bunch? No, but it is obviously one of the worst. If not, it wouldn't be on this list. This project is just all over the place. I mean, there's pop punk, there's rap, there's pop, there's ballads, there's R&B, and it all gets fused into just a big pile of sack of shit that doesn't taste like anything. It's not even good for background music. Like, you know, I had the Kimarom album because it was still great background music. Like, it actually had a meaning. It had it almost sounded like a soundtrack of a movie, of a old school anime from the 80s and the 90s. There's nothing original about this album, really. There's a couple songs that are enjoyable, but it's a very long project with a lot of songs, and it just doesn't hold up. I mean, I think I have it on my list here. Yeah, I mean, there's 17 songs. Wow, like I could never hear for 17 songs an album like this, and very generic productions. Whenever she chooses a different genre, she sounds so generic and basic. She's not a good singer anyway. She's not a great rapper, so yeah. I mean, she tries. Don't get me wrong, and she releases music consistently. That's a good thing, I'd say, if you're a fan of her music. But for me, I think this is objectively one of the worst projects I've heard this year. I think 100%. specifically compared to the best project that I put you on the list. Go listen to these and then go listen to this, and you'll see a huge difference, in my opinion. And this was it for the worst albums of 2023 so far, obviously. I haven't included stuff from July. I've heard albums from July, but honestly, I felt like I'll leave it for the end of the year. I think it's better. But yeah, I mean, if you ask me what are really the one I hate the most, Jisoo, Loren, Coogie, G-Idol, and I would say Bryan Chase. These are the 5 worst albums, 100%, that everybody else is after. But these 5 are garbage, are objectively bad projects. You can't give any of these projects, I think, more than a 3. I think if you give any more 3, you're being very generous, I think. Or you're just a fanboy and you can't actually think logically about your favorite artist. So overall, these were my projects. Tell me what you guys think. Obviously, we're talking about the music. We're not talking about the idols, please. We're talking about the project. We're talking about the project. We're not talking about the person. I've made comments about the people, sure, but that doesn't affect the way I talk about the music. Because, for example, what's his name? Jay Park. I think he's full of shit a lot of times, but he's a pretty solid artist, you know. And I've talked, and there's artists I've talked about similarly in the past. So, yeah, this was it. I mean, RM I think is almost sometimes, not always, or Suga famous. I think is very full of shit a lot of times, but he's a pretty good artist. So, again, we're talking about the artists here. We're not talking about like their personality and who they are. So. In this case, unfortunately, I think all of these are very bad. Some of them are less, they're more acceptable, but in the case of APink, I have high stands for APink, so when I release stuff like this, I tend to be harsher than if it was like a girl group I didn't care about, let's say. I think explaining myself to the 10 people that will watch this video. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, dislike, whatever you feel. Comment, share. Subscribe, talk in the comments what were your least favorite albums of this year, or the worst albums in your opinion of this year. Subscribe would be cool, and see you next time through this week with other videos, and possibly I'll start streaming on this channel. So thank you for watching, and have a nice day, evening, wherever you are in the world.